I predicted this 5 days ago and I was 100% right, you guys. They officially nerfed the ZEUS rod. In this video, I'll be going over 9 rods that you can replace your ZEUS rod with so you can still make crazy money in fish. But yeah, let's get right into it. If this helps you guys at all, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Okay guys, so at spot number 9, I have the Heavens rod. Not just the Heavens rod, but you have to have hasty on it or it's honestly not worth having. This one is a really good replacement, especially since it actually costs it costs like the exact same as the ZEUS rod, which is why I would say the Heavens rod is pretty good, especially if you use it with seaweed, so you can actually get an insta catch. Like as you can see, I insta catch, but there is some better rods. All right, but if you can only afford the Heavens rod, definitely get it. It's not a bad rod at all. But it's funny because this next rod that actually costs less is better for money. And I am talking about the Rod of the Depths. Basically, the Rod of the Depths, obviously it has pretty decent stats. And if you didn't know, every time you catch 3 fish with it, it gives you another one. It's really OP. And once again, another good replacement to the ZEUS rod, especially for my players who don't have a ton of money. I mean, this rod's cheap. It's 750,000. The ZEUS rod was like 1.7 million, so you should be able to afford this, but it is kind of hard to get. So if you don't know how to get it, go ahead and watch my tutorial on it. Now for number 7 is a rod that I know some of you guys are going to complain about, but it's something I've actually told you about before. I told you guys literally my video 2 days ago to prepare for it by getting this rod, but I know that was not nearly enough time. I'm talking about the Ethereal Prism rod. This rod has crazy insane stats, and luckily they haven't nerfed it yet. The only reason I'm putting this at 7, technically it is number 1. Yes, it is number 1. It's always been better than the ZEUS rod since it came out, but it does cost a lot of money. And I feel that a lot of you guys won't be able to afford it. It costs 15 million credits. But if you can't afford it, definitely get this rod because it's actually number 1. So yeah, congrats to anybody who has this rod. It's not nerfed. Now for another rod that's a little bit hard to obtain, which is why I put it lower towards the list, is the no life rod, specifically the no life rod with a money enchant like Quantum. But yeah, you can get crazy money with the no life rod. You also get it at level 500. So honestly, it's not that bad. If you guys have watched my secret XP spot video, and it's double XP weekend, so absolutely get to fishing. You can easily get to level 500 if you're not there already, and then have a super good alternative to the ZEUS rod. Me personally, I love the no life rod, and I used to say it was one of the best rods of the game. Now there's just so many better rods, and the next rod I'm going to be talking about is a rod kind of similar, and by kind of similar I mean kind of similar to the ZEUS rod. This one's actually very interesting. All right, I'm talking about the Kraken rod. So if you didn't know, you can also get the Kraken rod down in Atlantis. Let me see how much it costs. So yeah, this rod only costs 1.333 million credits, which is way cheaper than the ZEUS rod, and it has 3 passive abilities. It's actually super crazy. Basically, every 50 catches, the player is guaranteed a fish that is any of the legendary, mythical, or exotic fish. Next, you get the Kraken's Curse. 5% of the time, you will get the Tentacle Surge mutation on your fish, and it will not only duplicate your fish, but it will give you a 10 times multiplier on that fish that duplicates. For the last one, basically, if your place doesn't have like an exotic, it'll actually give you a random exotic from somewhere in the map, which is super cool and kind of cooler than the ZEUS rod, but the ZEUS rod was just so overpowered, which is why you also need hasty rod, or you need hasty on this rod, or it's not gonna work like at all. Like it'll be okay. Like honestly, you should use probably coral with it. Coral and hasty on the Kraken rod, absolute banger combo. Get that right away, especially if you don't have too much money. And I mean, brother, if you bought the ZEUS rod for 1.7 million, you can definitely get the Kraken rod. And now guys, we are getting to the top 4. All right, these are some of the best rods in the entire game. Number 4 is a rod you can only get at level 750, which might make some of you guys complain, but I'm talking about the Rod of the Forgotten Fang. This rod has crazy stats. I mean, 78% lure speed, really good luck control and resilience, and obviously infinite max KG. But but this rod, it's OP. I mean, yeah, you can only get it at level 750, but it is super easy to craft, and it has a passive ability that makes it so every time that you get it 3 perfect catches, which means if you're AFK fishing, I honestly wouldn't recommend this rod, but basically every time you get 3 perfect catches, it catches a fish higher than that rarity. It is a little bit confusing, but basically, let's say I catch 3 fish, and on the 3rd fish, I catch a mythical. That means the 4th fish that my rod catches for me is going to be an exotic, which makes it obviously insane. And if you actually fish by yourself and don't use you know what, this rod is absolutely one that you need. But obviously level 750, but once again, guys, it's double XP weekend. So go ahead and use this double XP weekend to your advantage, and you'll be at level 750 in no time. Especially if you use the video that'll have linked to this, which is the best XP method in the entire game right now. But anyways, all right, it is time to get to the top 3. The 3rd one is one I don't have, all right, which is a little bit embarrassing, but you can only get this one in sunken chests. Guys, I'm talking about the Auric rod. Basically, this rod, even though it's only a stage 6 rod and its stats aren't that good, basically, look at this. All fish caught with the Auric rod are guaranteed to have one of the following mutations, each with an equal chance of 20. Basically, meaning anytime you catch a fish, at minimum, it's going to be 2 times. At maximum, it's going to be 5 times, and that is every single time. So all fish that you get with this rod are going to be mutated. The only problem is that you can only get these from sunken chests, or I guess you have a higher chance from getting them from mythical sunken chests, but it's a very, very low chance, which is why, honestly, this rod is really good, but the number 1 rod, I'm so serious, you guys won't expect it, all right? Some of you guys actually might get mad once you see what rod I put at number 1. And the funny thing about it is actually the number 1 rod, you guys. The number 1 replacement in the entire game for the ZEUS rod is the ZEUS rod? What? No, I'm genuinely serious, all right? The ZEUS rod is still good, okay? If you have the ZEUS rod and you need a replacement for it, guess what? You might not. Yes, it got a nerf. Yes, it got a pretty bad nerf, and it removed 15 control, and it made the passive just not as good as it used to be because it was really overpowered. But overpowered, turning it to a little less overpowered isn't horrible, okay? I'm telling you guys right now, if you have the ZEUS rod, you don't have to throw it away. You don't have to opt for super cheap, crappy rod. You can still use it, and here's why. Basically, it had this little lightning thunderstorm thing, and you could only use the lightning thunderstorm thing no, sorry, you could use it every time. That's what made it super OP. Literally every time you use it, it would create a thunderstorm. But now it's every time you use it, you can create a thunderstorm, and then it'll reset, and you just have to redo the thunderstorm, and it has less control. But I'm telling you, it's still really good. Dude, you still have a really high chance to get the electric shock mutation, which gives you a crazy value increase of 3.5x. So the rod's still good. I mean, it's just a little bit worse, but it's still good. You can use this rod, all right? So yeah, to be honest, if you want to switch to one of the other rods in the video, you can. Technically, the best one is the ethereal prism rod, but guess what, ZEUS rod users, you technically don't have to switch out from the ZEUS rod. But if you do, just use one of the rods in this video. I really hope this guys helped you, and if it did, make sure to subscribe. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.